And we're live. Things. Screen shares on. Chat. Grant. List all available commands. Okay. Now, there are several games. Man United play West Ham at 8. Arsenal play Southampton at 7:45. So we have a couple of minutes to prepare. I'm just going to start with OLBG, just to see what people are saying, where they reckon where the value is and stuff. Okay. So some people are backing Southampton to win. I'm an Arsenal supporter, so I disagree. But it's a bet, so I look at the data, the evidence. Now, the odds aren't bad. So if you're betting on something which is 4.5, you don't need to win all the time. And we have people backing United to win. So I'm just I could click on the United one first. So, at least we're up to speed when the match starts. The famous antics of Jose, blah, blah, blah. However, is the switch of bringing in Rooney for cups will continue, and Rooney will be able to, when it comes to cups. Okay. I don't particularly disagree, but there's no real, there's nothing to support his argument. From a data point of view. Now, this person has a good track record. So in that respect, I'm going to not disregard what he says. This other person says, with West Ham sitting 16 in the league and United 6th, they seem to be favoured to win the match. With a 1-1 at the weekend and United looking solid, they should beat. Well, if they just played in the weekend and they were 1-1, how does that suggest that United are going to win? And that you recommend backing United at 1.36. Those are incredibly low odds. So I tend to disagree, or wouldn't be particularly convinced there. Yeah, I think it was a draw in the weekend. This person has a very good strike rate. Well, has a decent strike rate. I could agree with this. 5.5 is decent odds. This is EFL Cup match. If so, it doesn't. The thing will be decided tonight, like yesterday in the Newcastle match. So, it's not as if you have to throw everything and definitely go for the win. I have to win within 90 minutes. So, given the fact that it can go on to extra time or and then to penalties, or to get to penalties and stuff, you'd have to get a draw, because of course these bets are on what the result's going to be at the end of 90 minutes. West Ham to win. The game between the two ended up close as a draw. I mean, again, my instincts would be something like this, because it was a draw on the weekend. I mean, which is only a couple of days ago. I have a vague recollection that like West Ham seemed to be a bogey team for United. So, yeah. But anyway, just getting a sense of what other people are saying. Both teams to score. This League Cup match faced each other recently, ended up a score draw. A lot of score draw true. Yeah, no, it could be. Again, this person has a decent track record. And we've got more comments. Does anyone else say anything interesting? I have a few defensive issues lately. I'm not so sure. It's just that I think the sense I got, again, those are in the league. So I don't know whether how people do in the league follow through to to a cup. West Ham are poor, but they have the talent to open up all defenses. Okay. This is interesting. Good fixture for goals to be scored in. West Ham and United, 5 previous head-to-heads have gone 0-0, 1-1, 1-2, 3-2, 1-1. The game is likely to go for both teams to score. So, I mean, I don't know whether these are the correct scores, but I suspect it is. I mean, why would you make it up? So if this is the case, then in 80% of games, we've had both sides to score. And then, we looked at Kelly criterion. Again, this is a Quant channel, so we look at data and risk allocation. So if you have 80% probability of something to happen and you double your money, then you should bet 60% of your pot. Again, Kelly criterion is very aggressive, so typically you'd want to maybe limit it to half or less than what Kelly says. So this guy as well is saying, going on past results, 7 times. Oh, 7 times since 2014. 5 times in the league and twice in the FA Cup. 6 of these have resulted. So 6 out of 7. Now, at the same time, these are different managers, different players, so, is it relevant what the West Ham United game was like when Moyes was manager, when he didn't have Ibrahimovic, Pogba, and all those kind of guys. Again, we'll have to look at what team United are playing as well, I'll just check how far away the match is. What time is it? Okay, so 5 minutes. So I think the both sides to score looks interesting. Am I allowed to make a tip now, or I think it's too late? Because that sounded reasonable. Yeah, I was able to make it. Good. Okay. Now we just want to have a quick look at the Arsenal match, that which is about to start. So Man United looks. I don't agree that it's a good bet to back United at those incredibly low odds. But the both teams to score looks good. So from the Arsenal match, knockout games in the quarterfinal cup, Arsenal have a very long and quality run. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. Again, this person has a good track record. I mean, I would back Arsenal because I'm an Arsenal supporter, but also, they are at home, though the home crowd can be, Arsenal's into the big fraction who are unhappy, and so the team tends to be more relaxed nearly when they're away. Yeah, I agree with this guy. I mean, what a great price. Because Arsenal very likely winners. Okay, I'm just rushing because the game is just about to start. I might come back to this slightly later. Okay, so I just want to next look at the general information, general news. So this is from the BBC website. Just be updated on general football news. So what's going on here? It is not the same to be not in the touchline. We have changed 5 players from the last match. They have made this. They have made the same. Oh, they have made, so West Ham have made a change as well. This is the quarterfinal. When you smell a two-legged semi-final, everybody tries. Does it have any information here? Here it is. So Southampton have made plenty of changes. Make 8 changes to the team that beat Everton. I'm not that up to speed on Southampton, but I know Shane Long because I'm Irish. But Van Dijk, I've been hearing good things about. Forster is a very good goalie. Bertrand, so this looks a decent side. I think this is a very strong Arsenal side. I mean, Rene Adelaide is the up-and-coming superstar, which Arsenal supporters are very excited about. So this is an opportunity to give him a game. This combo of Coquelin and Elneny it's a very defensive pairing. So Arsenal have struggled to kind of produce flowing football when those two play. Anything else here? Here's so West Ham, 5 is the magic number for Bilic. Brings Reed back into the side. Okay, so Payet is playing, so this is he's all I really would be paying attention to. So as long as he's playing, they can score from free kicks and stuff. Antonio, he's been doing very well also. So this looks like a solid side. Ooh, Ibrahimovic is playing. So United are going flat out. You've got this attack is very good. De Gea is playing. Valencia's been doing really well. Shaw, Carrick, yeah. Wow. So I can I still wouldn't bet at 1.36, but this is a very formidable, impressive United side. Okay. And finally, news now that just it has it gathers articles written about a topic. So I just wanted to see whether there was any Arsenal. Okay, so this looks like an interesting site, which will have data, and I can get a similar page for United. So for killer setback, what's the killer setback? I think the game's about to start now, or maybe has started. So I'm gonna, I don't want to spend too long here. Oh, okay. So their striker Saka has been out for 6 weeks. Okay, so I'm just going to close those general news kind of story ones, and the game has started. How does this work? So they've changed the look of this page, even from yesterday. I'll expand this. Oh, it's 3 minutes in. And it's off. So we can see the squads here. Yeah, Perez up front. Long is playing. Forster. Yep, this is a good team. Now I'm just going to hop over here. This is soccerstats.com, which is an excellent site. I mentioned it on the channel earlier, when I was looking at writing our programs to grab football results from the website and then load from the results, build up my own table, count how many games has had 3 goals or more, look at home and away tables, that kind of thing. But these guys have already done it, so we can just use it. In particular, I want to look. So this is Man United at home. 71% of the time, it's been both sides to score. West Ham away, it's been both sides to score. Again, 71%. So the third highest in the table for away games, both teams to score for West Ham. In contrast, Southampton, 50%. So, we can see what the track record for these teams are. Now, I know it's a cup match, but they are both Premier League teams, so it's less of a leap here. So in the Arsenal match, we can see that Arsenal have a clean sheet at home it says home 29% of the time. So it's pretty good, but not the best. So I wouldn't be surprised if they had a clean sheet, but I don't know whether I'd bet on it. I'm just going to look at failed to score and look at Southampton. So Southampton have failed to score 33% of the time. So that means that Southampton tend to score. So I would expect Southampton to score. Oh, I'll just look at West Ham as well. West Ham failed to score 14%. So basically West Ham always score. They have a very good scoring record away. At home, Arsenal nearly always score. Man United nearly always score. So I just want to look at failed to score Southampton. Yeah, so the weakest link is Southampton scoring away, because they fail to score in 1 in 3 matches, but the other teams have failed to score only 1 in 7. Okay, so you can, from this site, look at the track record of the teams, like how regularly have they been scoring, and that way get a sense of what the most likely result is going to be. So I can also go home. Arsenal, you tend to get 3 or more goals. So on average, 3.43. Now, that is still skewed a bit because the first game was Arsenal-Liverpool, which was, 4-3 or something? So that affects the average. Away, Southampton tend to score less than 3 goals. So they average 2.17. So when Southampton are playing away, they probably set up defensively and look to hit the opposition on the counter, because they've got Long up front who's quick, so you can just knock the ball up, relieve pressure, and maybe score. So with that kind of a game, yeah, I'd expect maybe 2 or 3 goals. And I'll just finally check before I'll have a look at the match again. West Ham away averaged 3.29. So now at the same time, I suppose they've had a couple of very high scoring games then. But West Ham away, okay, they have quite a lot of goals, but Man United at home have been quite low scoring. So I suppose typically, when Man United are at home, the opposition are going to just sit back and park the bus, as it were. So United will then have to try and crack a prepared, properly set up defense. The United match hasn't begun yet. At least the first 10 minutes can be just very messy. So at least now the game is stabilized. It should slowly be taking shape. So we've had no shots on target or off target. as you'd expect, Arsenal have a bit more possession, but not hugely so. So I mean, so that's the classic, the saying. Southampton, I'd expect, would be soaking up the pressure and then looking to counterattack. So Arsenal had the ball there, and then suddenly Southampton went, and were nearly through on goal. So it seems quite level at the moment. Now, so this page, the goals page, kind of gives a sense of what kind of score I'd expect. That we saw that I'd expect nearly everyone to score in this game. So, like since United, West Ham, like United at home have only failed to score in 14% of games. Same with Arsenal, and same with West Ham away. Oh, and Southampton have scored. Great. At least it'll be a dramatic game. Now, as an Ireland supporter, I'd kind of hope that was Shane Long, because at least then, that's good. But obviously, I'd rather Arsenal kept a clean sheet. Arsenal have Holding and Gabriel as the central defenders, so I mean that's decent. And they have the two very good defensive midfielders. Okay, so I was just checking on the comments. Okay, yeah. So that's very handy that way. You know what I mean? So we knew yeah. So that's very handy that way. You know what I mean? So oh, what's going on here? Yeah, hopefully I fixed that. Sorry, I was looking at this stream, so I think it was then getting broadcast on the other one, so that I was getting some feedback. Okay, so what? I have to get rid of this. Okay, so I've muted it. So hopefully that's fixed it. Anyway. So when Arsenal have been at home, they've only kept a clean sheet 29% of the time. So I'm not particularly surprised that Arsenal conceded a goal. I mean, they've rarely kept a clean sheet at home. What were Southampton? Southampton have failed to score only 1 in 3 times. So again, that's kind of similar to Arsenal's clean sheet record. So, there was a near 70% chance that Southampton were going to score. Now, Arsenal at home have only failed to score once. So I'd be surprised if Arsenal didn't score. Southampton have only kept a clean sheet twice. So that's trying to build up my confidence again. It's okay. Now, so that's very handy from this website, soccerstats.com. Since, I'm able to just dive into the data and kind of see what has tended to happen in Arsenal matches. See Arsenal there at home, both teams to score 71% of the time. So, we can also from that we can see Arsenal are up here, are not doing that badly. I mean, they've only lost 4 games out of 13. So it should be a hard-fought match. While West Ham have lost half their games. So the table is, it has lots of information. We can kind of see, okay, Arsenal's defense is pretty good. I mean, they've only conceded 13 goals. So they tend to concede a goal a game. But they score 2 goals a game. While Southampton score a goal a game, concede a goal a game. So a typical, on average then, you'd say Southampton games would be 1-1. Arsenal games would be Arsenal winning 2-1. Man United would be rough 1.5-1. They're not at the 2 goals per game level, and they're conceding slightly more than a goal a game. While West Ham are conceding 2 goals a game, so they tend to be losing 2-1. So, we can kind of get that kind of information from our table. But this has more. For example, they also have a form table, which is good which is handy. At times, so on the one hand, you have all the games that they played, and that's good to know. But actually, I normally prefer the last 6 games. But if you look at the form, you can kind of see, oh, this team is, like, say, Crystal Palace have they lost something like 7 games in a row? Like here, yeah. In the last 8 matches, Palace have lost 6. So, like, they are just thinking. Though, so have Hull, but they produced quite an impressive performance yesterday. So here we see Man United are in the middle of the table. They're just drawing far too often. I mean, if you're trying to go for the title, if you're trying to go up the table, I mean, that's what Everton used to do under Moyes. It used to be death by draws. West Ham are not that far behind them. So in the last 8 matches, United have 11 points. West Ham have 9. -4. So the goal difference is another indicator. Typically, the table lines up with the goal difference. So last year, Spurs had the best goal difference, and they didn't win. So where was I? So again, just getting various pictures of what's going on, of the teams, and also seeing what kind of thing that this website has. So basically, if I didn't have this website, I wouldn't be able to see, I wouldn't know what the form of different teams are, and have all this kind of information. Now, I mean, I could and have got a program so that I can extract the scores and produce these kind of tables myself. But in general, that's not available. This is my other favorites. So, like in marketing, you might break the population into age groups like 18 to 24, 24 to 33, and this kind of different bands, and then how they differ, what they like. And so that you can target your marketing to particular groups. For example, like in the elections recently, or referendums recently, there was a big difference between how different age groups voted in the Brexit referendum. When it comes to football, home and away can be quite different. So here we can see that Man United have only won 2 of their 7 home games. Now that was the reason that I felt uncomfortable backing United to win at crazy high odds, because so far in the league, United really haven't been able to win at home. They've won more away games. So they've only played 6 away games, but they've won 3 times. They played 7 games at home and only won twice. So it's tricky. Now, what about Southampton? Southampton have only won 1 away game. West Ham have only won 1 away game. So actually, West Ham's away record is awful. And that would nearly support, backing United to win. I mean, it's not that United have to do anything remarkable. It's just that West Ham have been really bad away. But this is a very handy table so that it can be very informative. So, like, Arsenal have done better away than at home. Slightly. Chelsea have been incredible at home, but also very good away. So the top 4 have been very strong, both home and away. Oddly, Man City have been doing better away than at home. Now, typically, Man City were incredible at home. I mean, they would destroy the opposition at home. And I want to kind of be aware of this because I'm thinking about, we're going to have a Man City versus Chelsea this weekend. So if City don't have a particularly great home record, will that be good enough against Chelsea? But I don't have to worry about that today. Is there any other? So there's lots and lots of information here. So if you want to look at who's time the first goal was scored, what the halftime results were, what the margin of victories were. I mean, there's just lots and lots of data in a very accessible way. I mean, essentially, it has the data for most bets on sites. So if you're thinking about, do I back this side to score 3 goals or more? Well, you look on this site to see, does this team tend to score 3 goals or more? Is the team that they're about to play against, I mean, does the team that they're about to play have a really good defense, which would mean that it would be less likely that they'd score 3 or more goals. So, it's just I find a very handy website. Oh, United have already scored. Sorry, I was about to check. So that's a very quick. So I'll just have a quick look here. Who scored? Doesn't it? It used to say who scored. So this new upgraded page. So United have had 4 shots on target. Slightly more possession. They've been attacking a bit more, but the main thing is they've scored. I mean, the rest is kind of irrelevant. What's this? So West Ham have had a goal kick because they have conceded a goal. No. Where can I see who scored? Okay. So Arsenal have had 60% possession. Okay, I'm going to just try and get BBC site. That should say updates on the game and who scored. Ibrahimovic scored. It's going to be difficult for Arsenal to break Southampton down. They're solid at the back. I can't see an aerial threat there for Arsenal. So as I said, Southampton are very well organised. They'll sit back, they can absorb pressure, and then they can look to counter Arsenal, with the pace of Shane Long and stuff. There were only seconds on the clock when Southampton scored in West. Okay. So again, I don't really. Okay, United scored after 2 minutes. The Southampton goal. Great strike, great ball from Bertrand. Martinez had no chance. Okay, that's grand because otherwise, Martinez, he is a good goalie, so I wasn't particularly concerned about Arsenal playing him. But if people would be very quick to blame, that was due to the fact that it wasn't the first choice goalie, or at least if it's a quality goal, then there can be no complaints. Go on, Arsenal. Now, as I said, when we're looking at the soccer stats, I would expect the Arsenal Southampton game to have both sides scoring, and I'd expect the United West Ham to have both sides scoring. So, yes, when a team is in the lead, but I wouldn't expect that to be the end of it. Okay, Arsenal attacking. Just do a quick check to see what other games are on, whether there's anything bettable. I mean, I like this new way, that they've, before they just had all the games that were on, but they didn't have them classified, as, oh, this is the French league, this is France Liga, this is the French Cup or whatever. I'd expect Paris Saint-Germain to win this. So, if it goes on, that might be bettable. Because the longer the game goes on, the higher the odds you'll get. Because obviously, if there's only 1 minute left, the odds will be like 6-1 or 5-1 or something crazy high. So yeah, I'll just have a quick look here. I'd expect maybe 1.3, 1.4, no, 1.2. Yeah, it does make sense. Anything surprising here? Because, like, an interesting case would be if, say, these guys scored early, then I'd still expect Paris Saint-Germain to win, but I might get very good odds. But that hasn't happened, and I'd expect Paris Saint-Germain to win, but at these odds, it's not particularly just looking at this new interface. Okay, so back, I'll just flip between the Arsenal and I'll remove this Paris Saint-Germain match. So who's on the Arsenal team? So Perez is good. Now, we haven't seen that much of him, but he was one of the top scorers in the Spanish league last year. So I think he was the highest or second highest. I mean, who you hadn't heard of. So, you would have Ronaldo, Messi, Benzema, Bale, and maybe Suarez, so those guys would be at the top in Neymar. And then after them, you had Perez. So, and he got loads of assists as well. So, I mean, his contribution had been very impressive. I mean, he's kind of like Vardy. He's slightly older. He came from like lower divisions and kind of worked his way up. So has now just got an opportunity. But he wasn't at a very high-profile, prestigious club, so this is his kind of opportunity. So I'm happy enough with the attacking threat from him because he can operate just as a striker. He's got pace. He can head the ball. He can shoot, etc. But he can also play the flanks, create. Ramsey can create, and he also can score. They will be very dangerous along the flanks. Adelaide, he's a bit of magic. So we'll get to see how he's coming along because he was very he was very exciting even last year. He's very young, so he should be. I expect him to be kind of progressing good rate. So at least there's every reason to be optimistic. Though of course you'd rather not be a goal behind. Anything happening there? Okay, I'll just check to see whether they're, because I didn't. Engage with comments enough yesterday. Ooh, Southampton. Oh no! No, again, I was expecting both sides to score, but 2 is very hard to come back from. And 2 against Southampton, who have a good defense. So it's not as if I expect them to crumble at all. I think I'll look at the United West Ham game for a bit. So I might see I'll look at what description is given on the BBC site. I mean, as in, was that an error by the Arsenal goalie or defence? Okay. Arsenal giving the ball away too easily. Southampton are trying to take advantage on the break. That's because I thought... there it is. So Bertrand again. So you've got the left winger. So Adelaide would be playing on the right wing, but maybe not doing that much defensive work. Who would be the right back for Arsenal? Gibbs. Jenkins. But yeah, I know Jenkins is kind of the backup fullback, but I know he had a leg injury and stuff. So, but I wouldn't have been that at him. Though, if you were to say where's the weak point, like where would I, if I was the opposition, where would I try and attack? I would attack Jenkins. Though Arsenal have played 2 defensive midfielders, so I would have thought that they would be given the responsibility to kind of shield and protect, provide cover for the right back. So that's. Do they have any I mean, they should mention a bit more about what happened for that game or for that goal. So I'd actually backed United not to win, since they've only won. Remember, they've won very few home games. They've been drawing far too often. So again, I thought it was a reasonable value bet, since the odds were like 1.3 or something. I mean, it just means that if you lose the bet, you don't lose that much. While if you win, obviously you win far more. I also thought Arsenal were going to beat Southampton. So, not going great. No chance for Martinez. Okay, so again, it wasn't the goalie's fault. That's a great finish by Bertrand. Did very well on the left-hand side again. Martinez had no chance. Okay. Okay, so I'll just... So United supposedly playing well. Now hope... Oh, it's 43 minutes. Time is running. I mean, ideally, if Arsenal could grab a late goal, that would kind of mean I wouldn't feel that bad. It'd be a good time to score and all that. Back to over to the United match. So they've had 60% of the possession, 5 shots on target, 2 off. So they're not under threat. I mean, it's more United are just attacking. West Ham are trying to hold on. They are a goal down, but it looks like if anyone's going to score another goal, like United are more likely to score the next goal. I think. Now, so that's where they say who scored the goal. Now, at the same time, West Ham do have Payet, who's a phenomenal free kick taker. So he does provide them with the option to score from nothing. So as long as United are only 1 goal ahead, there's still, an opportunity. What's this? Throw-ins. So West Ham are winning on the throw-ins. Another shot on target. Because I think I saw a table the other day that United have had the most shots of any team in the Premier League, but they've had the worst conversion rate. So they're just getting shot, but they're just not getting the goals that they should, given all the shots that they've been getting. Just going to look at the last minute of the first half for Arsenal. Okay, so there's going to be 2 minutes of injury time. So that's only another 15, 30 seconds, maybe. But no, I mean, Arsenal haven't had a single shot on target, which is not great. Okay, so they don't have Sanchez, they don't have Ozil, but this was Ramsey's chance to kind of play in his kind of preferred role. He is a top player, so I mean, it's not as if Arsenal were playing. We're using players that I'd feel uncomfortable with. You know, I mean, like they're top players. Now, in these two games, I thought they were best. I thought United not to win had good value, had good statistical evidence. You know, I mean, the fact that United really have not been winning at home. And so if I only have to pay like 30% to if United do win, and I get paid, I get paid 100% in a way that if United don't, I think that's a solid bet. Also, I think both sides to score in the United West Ham match. That, you know, we saw that in the OLBG, that historically that's been the case. Was it 80% of the time or something? I mean, 6 out of the last 7 games. So, and that can still happen. So if West Ham do score, then the historical trend will continue. There wasn't any real clear bet in the Arsenal Southampton game. There you go, West Ham. It's taking too long. But, you know, yes, and there you are. That's exactly what I was saying. Yeah, I can feel very smug now. But yes, the bet was United not to win because they've been drawing too much, and both sides to score. So that's happy days for statistical betting. At the same time, it's only 35 minutes. So, you know, we'd seen from the data that we wouldn't be surprised if both sides scored. But United are playing very well. So it's game on. I'm more disappointed that Arsenal have just crumbled. If you're only 1-0 up, anything can happen. You know, it doesn't hugely matter. I mean, it's not game over. 2-0, that's a different thing. That'd be very tricky. So who did score for West Ham? Fletcher. Wasn't he a United player? Or was that another Fletcher? I mean, if he was, then isn't that the classic ex-player comes back and scores? You mean that? See last entry? 10 minutes of time, I have had 0 shots. Okay. Yeah, so first shot for a first goal. it's particularly irritating. Is there anything else? So I don't think I need to look at these statistics anymore. I mean, for today, since we, I tend to use this more in prep work, to kind of get a sense of what I expect is going to happen in the game. Look at the goals table and see, okay, typically we'd expect both sides to score. Typically, United games have been like 1.5, 1, like is the average score. So it'll probably be 1-1. It could be 2-1. So, you can, based on history, based on data, you can kind of get a sense of what you expect. I just want to check, is 2-0 to Southampton a big shock? It's tricky for me, obviously, because as an Arsenal supporter, I'd be kind of looking through whatever tinted glasses. So Arsenal typically both sides do score, so I'd expect maybe Arsenal to score. So what I want to do is look at the table, the table data. Arsenal tend to win 2-1. And Southampton tend to have 1-1 games. So I kind of thought Arsenal were going to win 2-1. That maybe Southampton would score. So I hadn't expected suddenly Southampton to score 2. I mean, that's more than they normally do. But they seem to be really good goals. So Southampton are performing very well. Again, even in the home away table, Southampton tend to score 1 or concede slightly more than 1, score 1. I mean, so it's basically 1-1. While Arsenal at home tend to be, in 7 games, they've scored 15, so they tend to score 2 and concede 1. So this is kind of unusual. Oh, that's a good line. Sorry, Mourinho needs to get each of his players a dog so that they can all learn how to hold a lead. Haha. Very funny. Those same time, I would feel far more comfortable if I was a United supporter, because they have been playing really well. They've had more possession, way more shots. So, there is an element of randomness and luck in football, which is what makes it kind of interesting. So it's not that we can just say, oh, this guy's going to score and it's going to be, this is what's going to happen, because then what's the point in watching it? I mean, there's no, there's nothing unusual going on, or there's no surprises. It's just a dull game. So, and we don't also want, where, like say in Scotland, where shock surprise, it looks like maybe Celtic will win the treble. again, or that Celtic will just win the league again and again and again and again and again and again. I mean, that's also not particularly entertaining. So we do want real games. Hold on a minute. I'm thinking I might go for a tea break now before the Arsenal game starts again. But what? I'm just... Then again, I suppose in the Arsenal game, they have made many changes to the team, so it might adjust. It might affect the chemistry, though. Arsenal do kind of play in that same style, so I wouldn't have expected. You can't really use that as an excuse. Hearts are in the lead against Rangers. I'm still unsure. That's down there in the corner. Because yes, this team is called Rangers, but they still will take a couple of years to kind of build up and get up to the level where essentially that they are level with, say, Celtic. So at the moment, you're going to have a period during which Rangers are just like a mortal club. They're just like any other club in the Scottish League. Also, I mean, I'm not that familiar with what's going on in the Scottish League. What's happening in the Paris Saint-Germain game? Remember, they are in the lead. But again, the odds were so poor. It's not worthwhile. Anything else? Definitely, Southampton are definitely the best team in the first half. They fully deserve to be 2-0 up. Yeah, not what I ideally would have liked. I mean, at the same time, I tend not to be particularly interested in the League Cup. I mean, I remember even when Arsenal were in a final, I think it was against Birmingham, where they lost. But I just didn't bother watching it, since I just don't consider it a proper competition. Like I wouldn't be happy. It wouldn't make any difference to me whether Arsenal won that or not. I mean, the FA Cup, I still love. I mean, partially because that's what I remember from being a kid. I mean, that thing of the magic of the cup has always been there. I mean, that it is a very hard competition to win. I love the purity of the contest. The fact that it isn't particularly seeded. I mean, I would have liked if maybe the Premier League clubs joined one game earlier, even. But the fact that you play, anyone can enter a team, and if they might have to play 6 games to get to where they play bigger teams. But it's so when you win the FA Cup, you are the first among what is it, 1,000 clubs or something. I mean, it's some crazy number, and fair play, and they're hard. I mean, at the end of the day, you remember like Man City lost to Wigan. Yes, I mean Arsenal. Was it beat Hull and Wigan or Palace? Yeah, but they they were, well, not the Palace one so much, but they were tough games. I mean, which one was it? Was it Hull that they scored twice in the first couple of minutes? Then suddenly Arsenal were sitting there going, "Uh oh, this can't be happening. This is the final." But fortunately, they came back and won. But it's a hard fought, and whoever wins, fair play to them. Yeah, that's the first half over for United West Ham. Oh, the Arsenal game has started. Now, Arsenal need a goal quick. I mean, they really need to go by the, say, 70th minute to be able to kind of put some pressure on. But they haven't had a single shot on target yet. So, have they made any substitutions? Off. Saka. Okay, so I can understand that because Saka, I mean, that means he's a more attacking, creative player, while Eleni and with the Kokona, they're both defensive players, so they would kind of protect the back line. No, not that ended up uh, doing all that well. I mean, given that they conceded twice. Now, hopefully, Adelaide will, produce a bit of magic and show this is why people are being excited about him. So if he manages to pick up the ball and then do a bit of magic and score a goal, then you're going to go, oh, okay, yeah, no, he looks good. Do Arsenal have any attacking? I mean, so Zaka will provide attacking, creative play. Okay, so you've got Chamberlain. Okay, so Bielik is a defensive midfielder. I think he's retraining to be a central defender as well. So I mean, he can kind of do that. And I don't know who this guy is. Mavi Didi. So Maitland Niles, Bola. So I think like those guys are kind of youth players. So we can't be looking for the bench to call in like players like Sanchez or Ozil or bring in the big guns. They've got to deliver. Okay, so now at least Arsenal had 2 shots on target. So they've upped the pace or the intensity. Okay, so let's go back. Yeah. Does it say anywhere here what the formations are? Just having a look on SofaScore, the app. Come on. Okay. So Arsenal are playing 4-2-3-1 and Southampton are playing 4-3-3, which is I think, the correct strategy. I always mean to look that up. Because remember when Real Madrid won the 10th, like the Decima, whatever, they were playing 4-3-3. And that when I remember hearing on the TV commentary about how essentially 4-3-3 was a good way to play when you're playing against 4-2-3-1. So from a football strategy point of view, this is a good matchup. Like Southampton are playing the correct way. "52 minutes is enough time." Arsenal, at least, they're now at the same time. I think, Arsenal will be hoping to try and pull it back to a draw and then go into extra time or something. But I suppose one thing at a time. Try and score a goal. Don't get ahead of yourself. Oh yeah, I just wanted to check whether this is the Fletcher. Fletcher never made a senior appearance for United. So no, the Darren Fletcher actually was the one I was thinking about. So obviously not Ashley Fletcher. Tempo from United has dropped in the last 10 minutes. I'll just close that. I'm not. So what were the other? Yeah, so as a general rule, I mean, the approach would be, so from OLBG, we'd kind of get what the interesting bets are, and the reasons people were doing it. So we when we looked at United West Ham, they were backing United, but the reasons they were giving didn't make sense. People were saying, "Oh, United just had a hard-fought draw, so therefore I think they're going to win." I mean, They just played a few days ago and couldn't beat them. So now you think that at odds of, that at crazy odds, you're very sure that United are going to win. So that then I could kind of go, I'm sorry, I'm not convinced. Then when I looked at the various other bets, so then you had people talking about why they were saying it was going to be 3 goals or more, it was going to be both teams to score, and all the various kind of bets that are available. And from that, you can kind of see that I think I like the both teams to score bet, because the reasons they were giving made sense. That in the last 7 times they played, 6 times both sides have scored. And then when we looked at the Soccer Stats web page, we saw that so far United, like both West Ham, have tended to score away. Not just tended to, have nearly always scored. And likewise, United tend to score, or have nearly always scored. So there was a high likelihood that both sides were going to score. And the odds were you double your money. So that's a high value. That's a value bet. That's a bet that if you do every day, you should be, in general, winning, as in making money. So, and likewise, in the result match, so I said that the comments that people made didn't really hold up. But to me, it was more the data from Soccer Stats, where you look at the league table and you can see that United have only won, was it 1 or 2 games out of 7 at home? So they're not. They are winning maybe 1 in 3 games. Home, they're winning maybe 30% of the time. So for that, you would want odds of maybe 3.0 for it to kind of, or even 4.0 for it to balance out. Yet the market price was only 1.3 or 1.4. I mean, it was behaving as if United had won 8 out of 12 games or 8 out of 10 games or something, In the Arsenal-Southampton game, there wasn't really any particular strong evidence. I mean, Arsenal have been winning I think it's 8 out of 13. But I mean, they've been winning roughly half their games. And so therefore, the odds were double your money, which is fair. I mean, it's not a bad bet, because, on average, that should pay out. But it wasn't as if it was a kicking and screaming bet where you went, that's crazy, they must have made a mistake there. At the same time, I more would have thought the danger was that it was going to end up as a draw. Southampton to be winning 2-0 is quite a surprise, because, we looked at the Soccer Stats, and typically Southampton away tend to, on average, they score 1 goal and they concede a goal. So a typical Southampton away game would be 1-1, while a typical Arsenal home game would be Arsenal to win 2-1. So 2-0 is not that. I mean, 2-0 to the away team is not a typical result. Now, you could say Arsenal have rested. They're not playing Sanchez or Ozil or Walcott. So they are resting a lot of players, but the Arsenal squad this year does have a lot of depth, and I would have thought that the players that they've used instead are not hugely weaker. I mean, obviously, Ozil and Sanchez and Walcott this year have been in, they are world class. But the players that they're using instead are also, very good. And you would imagine that they would, I would have expected that they would have grabbed the opportunity they had, because normally, they don't get to play. So this is their chance to show to the Arsenal fans and the manager that, look at me, I'm really good as well. And so far, they haven't grabbed that opportunity. So, as I said, I was hoping, Arsenal need to score in the first 70 minutes. They have actually, they've now got 4 shots on target, the same as Southampton. So, just from the stats, I would have thought that this game was more like a draw at the moment. If I didn't know, how many goals had been scored and stuff. Okay, so now Arsenal are playing their last card. So Adelaide, the great talent, the great hope, and I still have high expectations of him, or high hopes for him. But now we only have half an hour left. So Wenger's taken him off and brought on Oxlade-Chamberlain, who has been actually doing quite well this year. And United have scored. Sorry, so I'm going to have to hop over there. So again, they scored very early in the first half. And now they scored early in the second. So it looks like Martial. So it was Ibrahimovic who scored the first goal. And fair play to United. So they have, because, as I was saying, United have been playing well. I mean, from the descriptions, I was reading on the BBC website and that kind of stuff, and even just from their basic statistics, they've had 7 shots on target. West Ham have only had 1. So it looks like United are playing well, and they kind of deservedly are in the lead. But as I said as well, a free kick. So West Ham do have Payet, who's one of the world's best free kick. I mean, he's a phenomenal free kick taker. So there's always the threat that West Ham can score. I'm just going to wait to see what happens. Because the thing is, in most of the time, the appropriate action is not to bet, that there's no bet on, So you kind of want to be aware of what's going on, be aware from the, say, soccer stats, what the data says, and then wait. And then if a good bet suddenly becomes available, then you want to bet. So just going to look at the quick check on the Arsenal one again. So like Oxlade-Chamberlain came from Southampton, so that's using the rule of playing against your former club. Hopefully Chamberlain will, deliver. Oh, so they brought on Maitland-Niles. I actually don't know about him. I've heard the name. I should know. So Southampton have Rodriguez, but I suppose they are 2-0 in the lead, so they more just want to hold on to the lead. Ooh, Hearts are 2-0 up. Anything else on? Sampdoria in the lead. Paris Saint-Germain are winning. I think Salzburg are the dominant team. Just check up with the comments. .68.5 minutes. Ooh. Yep, they might have updated the site, but it still does that occasional reset. Yeah, otherwise, I suppose I'm beginning the prep work for Man City Chelsea, which is the big game. Yeah, I suppose it'll just be interesting to see, what state are the clubs in. I mean, what state are Man City in? Because when Chelsea have played the other big clubs, like Arsenal and Liverpool, ripped Chelsea to bits. Though that was before they moved to their back three, which has been doing fantastically well. So yeah, that's an intriguing game. The League Cup's always tricky because you don't know how much the teams want to continue. So, it's weird that when the teams are basically resting their players and trying out new guys, so half the game is about how seriously are the teams taking this contest. Kind of like the Europa League as well. But, United have put out the full team. I mean, that's why I'd be very disappointed if they didn't win. I mean, if you're Man United, you're at home and you're playing with, Rooney and Ibrahimovic and I mean, I suppose Mata isn't playing. But I don't know how to pronounce your man's name. The new guy, the guy that he's had on the subs bench all the time, or he's not just been there. I'm just going to check his name again. I don't know whether I'll try pronounce it, but so Carrick's, there. Mkhitaryan. Okay, that's not Mkhitaryan. Now Arsenal were also after him, but United, paid more. And United are United, I suppose. But yeah, that's a very good side. I don't know whether I'd play blind or blind. That's above, but no, I mean that's a really good team. I mean, you should, any manager would expect to be able to do pretty well with that. Yeah, so they have, and look at that for a subs bench. I mean, Schneiderlin, Mata, Lingard, Schweinsteiger, Blind. Yeah, I mean, okay, we're going to 73 minutes. Time is running out for Arsenal because again they need 2 goals. So I mean, Arsenal have been doing very well with getting goals in the 90th minute and all that kind of stuff, but 2 goals. Also, like Arsenal had a bad defeat against Southampton last year. I think that was in the league. I'm just checking. Now, the other bet would have considered would be Rooney to score, because I think he's 1 goal away from Charlton's record at United. So, I mean, that would be a big prize. That would be something he would obviously love. Now, there's still half an hour left, and United are playing well. I'm just going to check here. Yes, I mean, they've had 9 shots on target. So that might be worth considering. I don't know what the odds are for that. I'll just check here. All markets. Oop. Did something happen? Oh, it's just that United are attacking. Nope, they scored. And I'm going to find out that was Rooney scoring, which there was always a chance of. No. Or maybe they haven't updated this yet. Nope, Martial again. I think hadn't Mourinho said something the other day about Martial that he better grab his opportunity, that he wasn't delivering in a way. So that perhaps was a signal that Martial was going to do something, so that I could have backed Martial to score. I don't know, but it looks like United are going to win. In fact, I'd be amazed if they didn't, because they are dominating the game. So even if Payet scores a free kick or something, or even does a nice free kick, a nice corner, I don't think that they're going to score twice. I mean, because De Gea is in goal, who's very good. They've got their first choice back four. Like, they have a solid defense. They've got Carrick and Herrera, so they've got 2 good midfielders sitting there also. So I mean, fair play to United there. Okay, I mean, Arsenal are attacking, but it's the 80th minute soon. And Southampton would be set to try and hit them on the counter. So, I mean, that's football. I mean, that's a standard. Ooh, have United scored again? Oh no, sorry. So I was thinking since it had something there, but obviously this is under over 3 goals. So obviously we've already had 4 goals scored. So that bet, you can't bet that they're going to score more than 3 goals when already 4 goals have been scored. So Arsenal are going to have to try and do Swansea. Get 2 late goals. Go on. Okay, so at least Arsenal are putting on some pressure, but it's leaving it very late. Still, if they do get a goal now, at least it'll make it interesting for the last 10 minutes. Now, come on, your man Perez. I mean, this is when I'm looking for him to show how good he is. Zaka has also scored a couple of stunning long range shots. Ramsey can attack. Chamberlain can attack. Who else is playing at the moment? Yeah, Iwobi's playing. Yeah, I think I'll keep on the Arsenal match for this last bit because, again, there's only 5, 6, 7, 8 minutes left there, while there's 20, 25 minutes in the United one. So just I suppose I was wrapping up. I mean, betting games of chance and stuff have tended to be, a driving force in probability theory and that kind of thing, because it's always just on the cusp of what we can do. So we can look at football teams and we can kind of make sense of them. We can kind of go, okay, this is Arsenal's attack. Their players are better, like they score more goals. So I think Arsenal are at home, so I expect Arsenal to win. But it's a team sport. So, and the team isn't just a sum of the parts. And that's what makes it interesting, that you kind of look at it and it kind of makes sense, but it doesn't. And when we're trying to get to the state where we can actually explain it, we can understand it. And so it pushes or pushes our theory, like it pushes our understanding of probability of computers. Now we're trying, say, with machine learning, and we chuck whatever we can think of at the problem, and we can kind of get it, but we can't. So that's why I think like the betting provides a very fertile ground for, say, the Quant channel, what we're trying to do. So we can kind of go, okay, good try. Didn't work though, did it? If, say, for the Arsenal and Southampton game, because looking at the trends, looking at the fact that Arsenal at home have tended to, because the score has tended to be 2-1, and Southampton have tended to be 1-1. So at the start of the game, I would have expected this to be, well, probably 2-1 to Arsenal, or maybe 1-1. But I wouldn't have expected Southampton to be winning 2-0. And, as we've been saying, in the United West Ham match, well, West Ham have been losing a lot away. Like, they have a bad track record this season. But the strong statistic was both sides to score, which is what we mentioned that. That's the bet I made on Online Better's Guide. And that's what happened. So, and I still wouldn't bet on United to win against West Ham because the odds were just rubbish. So, I mean, if I'd won that bet, I would have made a tiny amount. So it's not worth my while. So that's why you want to kind of look through the various alternatives. Typically, the best option is to do nothing. It's just random. But then, if you do find an opportunity, like both sides to score, then that's that is something that is bettable. And otherwise, if you want to kind of match up what you like doing with the, say, betting and, say, this video, that if I didn't like football, if I wasn't going to watch the football anyway, well, then I wouldn't. This would be a waste of time for me. You know, I mean, yeah. While since I was going to watch this match anyway, since I was going to be betting on matches anyway, it makes sense. But from a Quant channel point of view as well, the interesting aspect is the fact that that betting and games of chance like poker or um, I don't know, backgammon, but all kinds of things that they are orderly. They're kind of regular. You can kind of study them. You can kind of understand them, but there's enough randomness there that you can't. And that's what makes the games interesting to play and interesting to study bet on. Just wait for the last minute or two. Again, I don't think it's going to be 2 goals, but 1 goal would just be nice, you know. At least you can end the match with a cheer as an Arsenal supporter. No, Perez is taking the corner. I remember he did that the other time and in another game as well. Because, you know, it's just that you would think that he's the striker, so he'd be the guy you'd want in the box. But again, like, you know, there's another corner. So, you know, and like Arsenal have had 5 shots on target compared to 6 from Southampton. I think that's pretty much the game over. I mean, there's a 1 in a million chance for Arsenal to maybe score a goal, but they're 2 goals behind, so they're not going to change the final result, as it were. And it's over. I had actually begun, I mean, in the afternoon before the game began, I'd bet on Arsenal not to win. But then just as I came in and the game began, or as the team that Arsenal were going to play was given out, I changed my bet just because it was such a strong team. I was surprised that, you know, they were. I mean, I suppose what's his name? Rene. Adelaide. That guy. Yeah, Adelaide. He was the only kind of unplayed, like, young guy, and he's a really good player. So I didn't see that as being particularly weak. So we just only have the last 10 minutes of the United match. But even there, I mean, the game's over. I mean, they're 3-1 up. The only potential thing would have been if you'd bet on Rooney to score But I wouldn't be looking to do a bet like that in the last 10 minutes. So that's pretty much sitting at the game to watch it to its conclusion. So, I mean, just on that theme of and sports and games at chance and stuff, being on that cusp of, where we can't really answer it. We don't have an exact answer. We can't explain it. There's just enough randomness in it that it's out of our control, out of our grasp. And that's interesting at the moment in the whole sports science, or the whole thing of using machine learning and analytics within football to kind of go, like the whole Moneyball thing. I mean, can we get a better optimization, better understanding of sports using quantitative methods than using common sense or using, experience and knowledge and those kind of things? And that is I'd hope to maybe some way down the line get around to that kind of thing, because it is fascinating. Because you can I don't know what things computers have been able to do better at the moment. That again, this game. Since, I mean, if United were only one goal ahead, then Zaza. No, that's something else I'm thinking about. Sorry, there was the guy from Crystal Palace who picked up an injury. Wow. Sorry. Copa del Rey, Atletico Madrid 5-0. Like they're normally Atletico Madrid games are very low scoring. So, they just sit back and they have a very good defense. So once they are 1 or 2-0 in the lead, then why bother scoring 3? I mean, you've already won it. Barcelona still 0-0. That's worth a look. I mean, particularly given that since there's not much going on in the United match. So, firstly, who's playing? Okay, so it's a B team. Okay, so I don't know about this side. What are the odds? Yeah, Barcelona 1.33. So even if I were to back them to win, there's no real money to be it's not worth it. Oh, so Schweinsteiger gets to play for the last 5 minutes. Okay, so at least that way Mourinho is bringing in, like he is finally Mkhitaryan is playing, Schweinsteiger getting a few minutes. So, the pieces are slowly falling in place. Just check whether there's any comments. Oops. No, I mean, I'm impressed by United in this game. I mean, because I've been hearing that their performances have been getting better, but I haven't really been watching their matches that much. But this was like, first of all, I liked the side. The team they had out was just impressive, and they played like the team that they looked like they were. So I mean, they had 11 shots to 1. They had more possession. They attacked more. I mean, they just, as I said, played well. I suppose I can just imagine if so you've got Hull, you've got Southampton, you've got Man United and Liverpool. So imagine, if you just had Man United, Liverpool in the semi-final, that would just be cruel. Because I mean, that has to be the final. But then again, that's the joy of cups. So it'd be great if Hull managed to make it to the final or something like that. Now I don't know really what the point is of hanging around till the end of the game, but since we've been going so long, might as well wait for the last couple of minutes. I don't know. Do I wait for the last 3 minutes? Yeah. Let's have a look here. What matches are... Yeah, I mean, because that's the standard game. I mean, Man City, Chelsea. Southampton played very well there, actually. Palace have been doing very badly. Sunderland, I think, are coming together. Leicester seem to be doing well in the Champions League, but they've been kind of iffy in the league. I could see a draw there. Stoke Burnley. Well, Burnley are very good at home, but useless away. So I could imagine Stoke to win. Spurs Swansea. Yeah, I mean, so it just that Swansea won the other day, and I think I think the odds for Spurs are really bad. I mean, like it's priced in as if Spurs are going to win for sure, like United today, but they haven't won that many games at home, so I didn't think that was great. So there should be interesting matches in the weekend. My top four is always my favorite one. So Arsenal to finish in the top four. I'll be probably hedging slightly later. If when the odds are down to maybe 1.2 or something like that, then you can hedge it and free up that €100 like. For one, if that's Rooney, I'll be kind of going, though fair play to him if it is. Because that is that's the final piece. That's the bet that was meant to be, or the news, that whole thing of like Rooney just needs one more goal. Given the fact that United were all over West Ham, they were having shot after shot after shot. They had oh no, I look at the team thing, isn't it? Does it say here? It doesn't have a goal after Rooney yet. No, Ibrahimovic has scored twice. Martial has scored twice. So Rooney didn't score. So that's a very late cheer there. So that was a decent enough game. I mean, very good by United, very good by Southampton. I'm just obviously not thrilled since my Arsenal lost. Till next time.